Hello, and welcome to another edition of Bulldog Profiles. I am Kylie Lindquist, your Assistant Principal of Curriculum and Instruction, and I am very honored to be back hosting my favorite show on RBTV, coming to you straight out of Studio A here at Riverside Brookfield High School. Bulldog Profiles is a show that allows us to meet and greet our new faculty and staff each year so that the Bulldog community can find out these wonderful new people who are working with us here at RB. Today, I am very privileged to have special education teacher Matt Garrity joining me on the program. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I am doing well as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to dig in and get to know you a little bit better. I promise not to put you too much on the spot. Right. So I mentioned that you're a special education teacher, and before we get into kind of what you do here at RB, I want to backtrack a little bit and talk to me a little bit about how you found your path to education, because yours, I believe, is kind of a non-traditional route.
Yeah,
I want to hear about it.
Yep, I am definitely the non-traditionalist. Well, I went to college and I graduated in '94, so that's a long ways back, and with an economics degree.
Okay.
Then I found my way down into the financial industry, down on the trading floors of Chicago, where I worked as a market maker for trading derivatives for a bunch of different groups and banks for a little over 20 some odd years. During that time, I got married, I had children.
Yes.
So you are participating an awful lot with your child's schoolwork and within the school communities. So you start kind of getting a little acclimated to how things kind of go. You are the parent visitor for the day, or you're reading a book, and you're just in an atmosphere, so you kind of enjoy it. I also, during my time as working on the trading floor, I was always the guy that had to work in new recruits, or train new staff, and I was kind of like the go-to guy that would fix a lot of the problems or understand all the rules. So I did a lot of the teaching already down there. It just kind of felt natural. I knew my time in the trading floors was eventually going to go. I had to consider something else in my life. And I really kind of felt like this was going to be a path that I was going to go on. I originally wanted to do math.
Okay.
But when I was speaking with some people at National Louis University, they kind of talked to me about it and said, hey, would you even consider going into the area of special education? I've been a former coach on all these different levels. You've got the background. We're kind of looking for, particularly they were always claiming they wanted more men involved
in special education,
in this area. And so I said, yeah, let's have a go at it. So I started taking classes, had to quit my job. And so I left that and took the dive into special education as a paraeducator to start with, so I could get acclimated as I went through my master's program. Eventually graduated and ended up here.
How scary is that on a scale of 1 to 10 to be changing careers after 20 years in one field and starting over in another field?
And being a provider for a family, I have 4 children, so it was a pretty big leap to take. You're always unsure whether or not it's the right decision for your family. But it was one of those that kind of called me, so I said, this is kind of what I like to do. Any
looking back, you feel?
Of course you always look back. Who doesn't? You always second guess yourself. If you're not, then you're not making the right decision.
That's a good point.
So you have to always consider, is this the right move all the time? But you still keep going down the path. Because you have to find, you got to travel a little distance before you find out whether or not you've made the right decision.
Absolutely. That's some good life advice.
Yeah, and so I feel like things are going well. I mean, there's always things I know I can improve upon. And there's things I know I have to kind of understand and get used to, because my former career was definitely a different environment.
Night and day, really.
I mean, it was, it was a slowing the pace down.
So, because if there's one thing that's at a higher pace than teaching, it would definitely be the trading floor. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like I have a little anxiety just thinking about like seeing videos or seeing like what that looked like, and you were in the thick of it.
Yep. Yeah. It was a great career, but
Yes,
now
it had an
done.
expiration date.
Yeah, it does have an expiration date.
For sure, yes. So now that you're here at RB and you are working as a special educator, what are some of your favorite things about being a special education teacher?
Change every day, something different. Even if it's frustrating, it doesn't matter. It's one of those. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I liked about my former job.
Sure.
And there was always a challenge. There was always something new to do. Here today, whether it's just simply helping somebody get to class, helping myself get to class.
Yes.
I mean,
the building takes a while to learn. I'll tell you that.
It does. Meeting new kids, learning everything that needs to go in, because at first you're like, I could do this. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And then when you start getting into it, you start realizing, wow, there's a lot of layers to this onion. I got to get through. Yeah. And I have to make sure that I'm on top of it. And that was kind of like a big thing that we had in my old group. My former career was details were everything. Yes. You had to check. If you were wrong, it was a $10,000 mistake.
Sure.
And
we will not fine you $10,000 here at RB if you're wrong.
And that
I promise.
gives me better. Yeah, I do feel better about knowing that, but I do feel that sense of need to make sure everything is done correctly. Sure. I do love meeting all the different students that I get to meet. I mean, I spend, I come in a little early, I stay a little later, I visit other rooms. I want to make sure that the guys that are in my classes get some extra attention so that they can be as successful as they can be. Yeah. Oftentimes it may simply be motivational. Yes. Which is a big thing, especially coming back to school. Absolutely. We had a year off, kind of, you could say, and you develop some bad habits. Well,
absolutely. I know that I developed some bad habits.
So it's kind of hard.
Sure.
And I do like that I can lean back on my experience as a father. Yes. I have 4 children. One is a senior in high school, down to a 5th grader. So I feel like I've kind of got some ideas on how to connect with students. Yeah. And try to keep it fun, Absolutely. I mean, that's what school's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be fun on your phone, it's supposed to be fun in the class, right? Right, yeah. So that's...
Because people like us remember what it was like before the phones, right? When you actually had to pass a note, or you had to talk to someone in the hallway. That was the only time you saw your friends.
Or you went home and used the phone.
Right, correctly.
That had a cord.
Yes, the cord that you strung through your parents' house, and your mom was pulling on the cord to try to find you. That's how mine was. What is something specific that you really feel like the thing about RB that has really, a lot of people talk about RB being a unique sort of school and a different kind of place. What is working at RB? What have you noticed about RB that has made it a good place to work for you?
I don't know if the right word, intimacy, is not really the word that I'm looking for, but it's kind of how it describes it. It's small, it's smaller. I won't say it's small, but it's you're not lost in the crowd. Yes. Okay, you're not one where my children go is LT, and they are one of 4,000. Yes. That is a different feeling. Yes. You will never meet anyone. When I went to high school, I was one of 600 in my class. So here, I think it's down to around 400 level, which is a little more manageable. Yes. So you can set yourself out and be out there as a person. You could lose yourself if you want to. You have these choices of what kind of person you want to be. Yeah. And it also allows you to, even as a staff member, you can do the same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what's great. And there's a lot of friendly people that I've met. Good. A lot of people that are willing to help you out and reach out and give you a hand at any time that you have a question. And there's always growing pains with everything because you're the new guy that knows nothing.
Yep, and it's only November. It's still pretty new.
And it is pretty new. And so I feel kind of like some of the students kind of feel. Sure. So I feel like I can relate to them in that way.
I love that.
Where it's new for me, it's new for them. And
that's awesome. Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. This was fun.
I've been excited to get to talk to you and to have another one of our new teachers here on RBTV. I hope that our audience will join us again when we come back with another edition of Bulldog Profiles. Thank you so much and take care.